So you finally did it. Congratulations. Your offer of study abroad is finally confirmed. You did the work, you got the grades, and now you are eagerly anticipating your big move to your new home. Then the panic strikes. How do I pack my entire life into 2 suitcases? It is certainly a daunting task and one that you are likely to want to put off until the last minute. I know this because I was caught in such a situation myself. I was so confident that my entire life would fit into 2 suitcases that I didn't even bother to start packing until the last day to my flight. But trust me, delaying it is bound to lead to you making mistakes. A little bit of research will go a long way. If you find out what the weather will be like where you plan to study in Canada, you can plan ahead and save yourself the expense of having to buy a whole new wardrobe of clothes when you land in Canada. Online research is one of the easiest ways to find out what the weather is like where you'll be studying in Canada. Or you can reach out to people or family and friends who are in those areas just to give you first-hand knowledge of what the weather is like before you even start planning on packing your luggage. The other option is you can set your location in Canada as a secondary location on your phone so that you can monitor the weather there firsthand from your phone on a daily basis to see how it is evolving, so that will help you plan ahead of time and get first-hand knowledge of how the weather is evolving, because sometimes some of these weathers can be some way. One time it's hot, the next moment is cold. But with you monitoring on a daily basis, you will get first-hand information on that. You can also use websites like AccuWeather, Yahoo Weather, and other websites that are out there to monitor the weather situation if you can't reach out to people there to get first-hand information on the weather. But trust me, if you have the option to reach out to people who are currently living there, that will be your best case scenario. For example, I have been in Winnipeg for over a month now, and I've seen cold, hot, and even chilly weather on different days, even though we are still in fall. Ask yourself, how will the climate and weather affect my travel plans and activities? In this video, I'll share with you a few recommendations on what to pack, what to leave behind, and what to buy when you land in Canada to help you start your journey in Canada on the right foot. I feel as a frequent traveler who has done this journey over 50 times, I have accumulated over enough knowledge over the time that I can share with you to help you plan and start your journey on the right foot. A few things that I'll be covering in this video are what to put in your carry-on luggage, what to put in your check-in baggage, other things that you can bring that possibly you've forgotten about, what you can buy when you get here, items that you can ship over when you get here, what you can leave behind or even donate before you leave for Canada, and a few relevant questions that I think you should ask yourself when you start packing to help you pack successfully. If you talk to students who have traveled to Canada since the pandemic, they will tell you that the journey is very stressful and long, sometimes more than 20 hours. And to make your life less stressful, there are some things that you need to put in your hand luggage and certain things supposed to go into your carry-on baggage to make your life less stressful whilst you are in transit or even flying over here. So now let's go through each one of them. First one is carry-on luggage. A quick note on carry-on luggage here. Most commercial airlines have new regulations concerning what you can and cannot put in your carry-on luggage when you are traveling. Sharp items like razor blades, knives, nails, nail files are all banned from your carry-on luggage on most flights. For more information on what you can and cannot carry in your carry-on luggage, kindly check the website of the airline that you are booking your ticket with. And also make sure to browse through the website of the airports, their customs and duties regulations, to see what they allow and what they don't allow. Because some airlines or some airports will allow you to carry some things whilst others might not. So it's very important that you pay attention to this information and check them out before you even start packing your carry-on luggage to avoid some of your things being thrown out when you get to the airport. But as a general rule, there are some important items that you will not want to put in your checked baggage, but rather you want to have them handy in your carry-on luggage so that you can easily access them and use them in the course of your trip. These items are passport and boarding pass, your visa or any traveling document that authorizes you to enter the country, prescription medicine that you will need in the course of your trip, your glasses if you need them handy to read whilst on the trip, your purse or your wallet because you need them handy to pay for taxi and other things in the course of your trip. Documents that you will need at the immigration, like your letters of acceptance, port of entry letter, receipt of payment of school fees, any other documents that you use during your application process that you feel the immigration people will request for. It is important to keep them in your hand luggage. Something comforting. This can be a letter from a loved one, your favorite sweet, or even a cuddly toy to keep you company during the course of the flight. And hey, I'm not judging you here because I've seen people carry all sorts of things on flights. Even seen people carry dogs, pets, cuddly toys, all sorts of things just to keep them company whilst flying. And most airlines allow people to do this just so that they can travel comfortably. Also carry snacks because the airline food might not be enough for you, especially when you are on an 8-hour flight and they are just serving you a small bowl of rice. So it's important to carry some snacks just in case you get hungry along the way. Also, you need to pack headphones just in case you don't want to use the one on the airline because of hygiene reasons, or you need a headphone to block out noise during a long haul flight to avoid people distracting you when you want to sleep, or even to listen to your favorite music or watch your favorite movie. You might also need a very good book to keep you company if you love reading, because it's 8 hours and at some point you get tired of sleeping or watching movies. You might need to read something, keep yourself busy. And my favorite one, you will need a travel pillow and a face mask if you want to have a comfortable sleep, because a travel pillow will help hold your head up if you decide to doze off and prevent you from having aches when you land. And the eye mask will help block out any lights whilst you try to sleep to avoid any distractions. These are a few things that you can put in your carry-on luggage just to make your life very easy whilst on a long haul flight traveling to Canada. You may also want to add a few personal items in your carry-on luggage to make your trip as comfortable as possible. Things like hygiene products to help you refresh yourself during your transit period, or even personal items that you think will make you not miss home so much. Consider including things like water bottle to help you stay hydrated, toothpaste and toothbrush to help you refresh yourself whilst in transit. You can easily walk into any of the washrooms and refreshen up. Change of clothes and underwear just in case your flight is cancelled or delayed. And even if it's not cancelled or delayed, you are going to be sitting for a long period of hours, possibly over 12 hours. So a change of underwear will come in handy. And remember to pack some snacks just in case the food on the airline is not to your taste and you need to munch on something nourishing during your journey. And note this, when it comes to your carry-on baggage, you have only 12 kilos. So use it wisely, because some airlines will allow you to carry an extra accessory, whilst others will not allow you to do that. So make sure that both your accessory bag and your carry-on luggage, and when I say accessory bag, the carry-on luggage is the luggage that you are allowed to pull through the airport, and your accessory bag is like a purse or something that you can hang around your shoulder. Most airlines will allow you to carry both to the limit of 12 kilos. Others will allow you to just carry a hand luggage of 12 kilos and another accessory bag. So most students take advantage of this and pack more than 12 because they can carry 12 in the hand luggage and possibly another 4 or 5 in the accessory bag. But if you are not lucky enough, you can be stopped. I got that experience where at the Charles de Gaulle airport, the airline official that I met decided to weigh both my accessory bag and my hand luggage and found out that it was more than 18 kilos. I was forced to pay 200 euros or leave some items behind, and I almost lost my bags because I almost got scammed. So if it's your first time traveling, make sure that at least your hand luggage is 12 kilos and use it wisely. Now let's move on to your second group of bags. That is your checked baggage. Your checked baggage is basically the bags that you check into the plane. You don't see these bags after you check them in until you land at your destination. So anything that you put into these bags will not be seen throughout your journey until you land. When it comes to checked baggage, I always say less is more when you are packing. Although everybody will caution you to pack light, I feel packing is more of a personal process. And packing can be especially challenging if you plan to stay abroad for an extended period of time. If you are just traveling for a couple of weeks or days, it becomes very easy because you just throw in 3 shirts here, 3 trousers there that you can match over those days and everything is fine. But if you are traveling for an extended period of time where you have to fit your whole life into 2 suitcases, it becomes challenging. And note this, when it comes to checked baggage, most airlines gives you 2 bags of 23 kilos when you buy your ticket, unless you decide to go with the option of having only 1 checked baggage with your tickets for a reduced price, or you decide that you want to buy an extra checked baggage because you have a lot of items to carry. So pack wisely. I know you want to have as much comfort as you have in your home country, but yet you can't pack everything from your home country to Canada in just 2 suitcases. Also, part of your reason for traveling abroad is to leave your comfort zone and move away from home. Therefore, you have to be prepared to make do with just a few items instead of trying to move everything from your home country to Canada. Not only does the airline have a limit on the amount of luggage that you can carry, that is 2 bags of 23 kg and a hand luggage of 12 kg, but also remember that there is limited space when you land in Canada, especially if you are going to be perching with a friend or staying in an Airbnb before you find your own form of accommodation. Also, as a first-time traveler, the last thing that you want to be doing is to be dragging lots of bags through the airport whilst also trying to find your way around, asking strangers for help and all that. So it is important to pack wisely when it comes to your checked baggage and not try to stack everything that you have in your home country into your bags. This is why knowing the weather in your home country comes in handy. If you know you are traveling in the fall, you just pack for fall. If you know you are traveling during the summer, you just pack items just for summer. If you are traveling during the winter, you just pack items that will meet the winter weather. When you land, you can start buying things for other seasons accordingly. Most of the items that we have that we wear in Africa can only survive the summer weather. When it gets to fall or winter, all those items becomes useless. So imagine traveling during the fall or winter semester and you just pack all your items that you have in your wardrobe, only to land there and find out that you just pack things that will not be needed anyways. My advice is to start packing early and don't try to procrastinate. Possibly the very first day that you receive your visa, just take out your 2 bags that you'll be traveling with and go through your daily activities and try to move things as and when you think they'll be relevant when you get to Canada into those bags. Before you realize, those bags will be full of things that you think are important. Then now you can start going through them to pick the ones that are relevant and the ones that are just redundant. Packing for at least a year abroad in Canada in just a couple of hours before your flight is not a smart idea to try, because chances are that you are going to leave out a lot of things that you need. Packing takes planning, and you are most likely going to pack and repack a couple of times before you are satisfied with what you have packed into your bags. And before you rush to cram everything that you have into those 2 bags and head to the airport, Remember that there is a high probability that you will have to let some items that you love go, because those 23 kg that the airline is offering you is not going to be enough for you to pack everything. I had to leave behind my favorite game console because it weighed almost 5 kg, and a few jackets and shirts that I'm still missing when I landed in Canada. Now let's look at some of the items that I advise that you put in your checked baggage whilst you travel to Canada. The first one that I advise is to have copies of your documents. Before you settle down in your new life as an international student, you first have to pass through border security and customs. Here, you will be required to present some documents that you absolutely cannot forget to bring on this flight. So it is important to have copies of those documents handy in your checked baggage, just in case something should happen to your hand luggage, because you don't want to risk denied entry into the country after going through the stress of having to apply for visa, apply for school, wait all this while, only to be denied entry because you forgot to bring some documents that are required at the border entry. For every student, some of these documents that I advise you keep copies of in your checked baggage are your passports, your flight tickets, your port of entry letter, a copy of your student visa or study permits, because the study permits will be issued at the border of entry, your university acceptance letter, your address in Canada, where you'll be staying when you land, whether it's temporary or permanent, any required COVID tests or vaccination cards, any required medical letters or tests, any school fee payment receipts, proof of your rental payment if you have paid for your rent before flying out. These items are the very basics that at least you should bring with you and keep copies in your checked baggage. However, you may be asked to present other documents like your proof of funds and bank statements, other identifications, be it your national ID, driver's license, or anything to prove your identity, travel or health insurance based on your situation, academic transcripts or qualifications, driving extracts or driving license, and any other photocopies of documents that you might be bringing along with you one way or the other. Outside border control, you may be required to show these documents to other agencies or even to your university after registration. Either way, I advise that you check in advance so you have enough time to gather all these documents that might be required one way or the other before you fly out of your home country. The second list when it comes to your checked baggage is clothing. And this is where most people make lots of mistakes. First things first, like I said before, check the weather in the city that you are flying to before you decide to pack any form of clothing. If you are flying from the tropics, like I did myself, my advice is to pack just enough clothes to last you between 2 to 3 months of your stay in Canada and nothing more. Because the truth is, you can buy enough clothes in Canada when you land at a cheaper price that can better suit the weather as and when you need them. There are a few questions that you need to ask yourself before you start packing. Does the city that you are going to have extreme seasons where it moves from blazing hot to cold in just a matter of days? Does it rain a lot? Do you need a hat, scarf, a pair of gloves or sunglasses just to survive the weather? All these can be bought when you land, and shopping for them before you fly out will just be a waste of time, energy, and even luggage space when you are flying. It can be tempting to try to pack your entire wardrobe, but think about it seriously. You only have limited space. My rule of the thumb when it comes to packing is, if you don't wear the shirt at home, then you are never going to wear it when you come here or even get to the university. So just leave it behind and pack only items that you actually wear in your home country. Some clothes that you can look through your wardrobe and pack are enough underwear to last you at least 2 weeks, some basic everyday clothing, but be restrictive here when it comes to packing. My trick is just make a pile of the things that you want to carry when it comes to basic everyday clothing and then just have them and take one half and leave the other half. An outfit or two to go for parties, dinner, or any other formal event that you are invited to. A basic warm jacket if you are coming to Canada in the winter, because my recommendation is to wait till you land in Canada so you can buy your thermal and winter jackets, because those ones are made to survive the Canada winter. Then a formal wear to attend job interviews if you plan on looking for jobs when you land in Canada, or even attend church possibly if you're a Christian. Then pack some pajamas that you can sleep in. You can also pack a pair of slippers or flip-flops depending on the climate that you'll be coming into. Some gym attire if you plan on staying healthy, that's for going jogging or even going to the gym if the weather allows it. 2 pairs of everyday comfortable shoes, then 2 pairs of formal shoes to match the formal clothes that you packed. The next group of items that you need to pay attention to is medicine. My advice if you are traveling to Canada is to have your basic medicines before you fly out. When it comes to drugs, my advice is to have enough of your basic medicines to last you a couple of months when you land in Canada, because they tend to be very expensive, especially when you don't have prescription. And if you are from the tropics and you are traveling in the winter, my advice is to look for this drug called Limsim. It can be very helpful with the cold when you get here. Secondly, come along with your prescriptions that you have in your home country, just in case you need to reacquire those drugs when you land here. You can pack some masks and some sanitizers as we are still in the pandemic, and you might want to at least protect yourself. The third group of items is utensils. My advice is to leave them home and get some when you land here, because if you pack them, you are just wasting luggage space and time, because you can easily get some here in any of the value shops or even Walmart superstore at possibly the same price that you can get them in your home country. So why bother packing them when you can get them here? It will not be worth it, and they will just take up space in your luggage. Besides, you are going to be living here for the next couple of years. Why not just invest into some new ones just to match your new beginning? My advice is to bring basic raw materials for food, just to last you between maybe a couple of weeks to just a month or two, instead of just packing raw materials for food just for the next 1 year, because they tend to be heavy and can take up space that you can use for other valuable items. Besides, you can easily get most of the raw materials that we use for food in our home countries here in Canada. If you walk up to any African store or even an Indian store, most of these things are readily available. You can find your gari there, you can find your spices in those shops, and most of these Africans are shipping these things back into the country. So why bother packing them to take up your luggage space when you can use this same space for other valuable things that you might need here? You can also pack some spices if you like your local spices, and also pack your favorite tea bag that you have in your home country if you love your tea and you feel you'll miss it. Just pack a couple of it to last you some time here once you ease into the Canada system. And one quick tip here, make sure to pack just enough ready-to-eat food in your luggage, as you will need this before you settle into the system. This will help you. These are like quick to cook food that you can have in your home country, something that you can just pop into the microwave and in a few minutes is done, or you can just put on fire and within 5 to 10 minutes they have cooked that you can eat. I know a couple of people would like to pack their favorite Indomie, where they pop it on the fire and it's good to go, or things like waffles that they can pop in, but those things you can find some here anyways. Number 6 is on electronics devices. Remember to pack your existing laptop or phones, but make sure your phone will work in Canada, because I've seen a couple of people come in and the phones that they brought from their home country was not compliant, so they have to now reinvest into acquiring a new phone here. So make sure that whatever phone that you are acquiring will work in Canada. Most people like to invest in Samsung or iPhone because they will know that one will work. Other brands tend to not to work here, but at least do your research before you buy a new phone. And if you haven't bought your new phone yet, my advice is to wait. When you get here as a student, most of the telecommunication operators might offer you the opportunity to acquire a phone and pay over the next couple of months, up to 24 months, which tend to be cheaper. You can get a phone like X22 for as cheap as $10 a month. So look into it before you acquire a new phone. One other thing that you can also invest in is a universal adapter. This will help you to at least use your electronic gadgets that you are bringing from your home country into Canada, as their plugs tend to be different from the ones that we have in our home country. We tend to have the 3-pin and they tend to use the 2-pin here. But the universal adapter will help you to at least connect your electronic gadgets to the sockets here. What I did for myself was I bought an extension board and a universal adapter. That way I can plug the extension board into their socket, then I can plug the electronic gadgets that I brought from Ghana onto my extension board without having to invest into multiple universal adapters. Also look into acquiring some power bank, as this will come in handy when you need to have power handy whilst you are out and about and you need to charge your phone. And if you are bringing your phone into Canada, my advice is to invest into a very good screen protector, because mobile phones tend to be expensive here if you are not acquiring it on a contract. So if you are bringing your expensive phone into Canada, possibly look into investing into a screen protector. That way you know your phone is protected until you are ready to acquire a new one. The next group of items that I want to look at is toiletries. Don't forget that the new city that you are going to in Canada is not out of space, and most of the things that you will need to buy when it comes to toiletries can also be found in a shop one way or the other when you land in Canada. Pretty much everything that you might need when it comes to toiletries can be found in one shop or the other in Canada. So why bother packing most of these things into your bags before you fly out, just to weigh you down? So my advice is to pack just enough to last you from just a couple of weeks to a month before you find your way about and know when to get some of these things here, instead of just buying bulk and bringing them over. However, you may struggle to find certain brands when you land here. So if you are attached to a particular brand or a particular product, my advice is to do your research and find out whether you will find them in your home city when you land. If not, just chuck a couple of bottles of those into your bags before you fly over, just in case you feel you will need them. But please don't go overboard. Just bring the essentials to tide you over for the next couple of days before you find your way out and about here. You will certainly be able to buy things like shampoo, conditioner, hairspray, moisturizer, and the rest of it all in local shops here, and save a lot of your weight space for much more important items that you need to bring over. And always remember to put your toiletries in a sealed transparent bag before you start packing them with your other clothes, else you will land at your destination only to find out that those toiletries have been punched open and it is spilled all over your clothes. A few essentials that you can chuck into your bag just to tide you over the next couple of days before you find your way out and about are deodorants, face wipes, soap. If you wear them, you can pack your makeup, but just like your clothes, don't just pack everything. Just pack the essentials that you will need. Then add toothbrush and toothpaste just to tide you over. Now let's look at other items that you can bring that possibly you have forgotten about or not remembered to add to your list. In addition to the regular necessities like clothes, shoes, underwears, and the others, there are a few items that you might want to bring along. The following is a list of items that you may not have thought of that you might want to bring with you. See if you forgot to pack any of these items. and make a decision whether you want to add them to your packing list or not. 1. Student ID card, because it might help you to get some discounts one way or the other. A backpack for class and sometimes day trips. A camera or a journal, so that at least you can record your life and document them, or possibly send out some nice pictures and videos to your loved ones when you land here. Translation of your prescription. That is if your prescription is in another language besides French or English. A few family photos so you don't get homesick. A gift for your host family if you plan on living with somebody for a couple of days before you find your own accommodation or perch with a friend, or possibly to give out to some people that maybe you communicated with and they help you one way or the other in the course of your planning of your journey. An inventory list of all the items that you've put in your check-in luggage, just in case something happens and you lose your bag and you want to make an insurance claim. Identification tags with your contact name and information on them attached to your bags, just in case your bag is misplaced one way or the other and you need to find them. These are just a few items that maybe you can add to your packing list if you haven't and you think you might need them. On what you can buy when you get here. Like I said before, you are not traveling to outer space. The city that you are traveling to have people like you and me living there already. So most of the things that you have in your city where you are living now might be found there one way or the other. Or you can have similar items that can easily be used to replace them. I have my Nigerian roommate who was looking for some more to cook his favorite food, finding his just across the street because it was being sold in an African store. Imagine if he had packed those things in his bags just to get here and find out that there was one just across the street. He used those same luggage space to bring other things that he felt were more important. My advice is just to do your research. Reach out to people who are already living there and ask them on what to pack and what not to pack. They will be very helpful in that way in advising you so that you don't pack things that might not be needed anyways. Not having to worry about certain items spilling or breaking and not packing certain items can help save space. You can buy many inexpensive items when you land in Canada instead of just packing them in your luggage. Consider buying basic things like gari, rice, basically food items and toiletries when you land in Canada because they are readily available, and my advice is no need to pack them. And before you pack everything you have into your bags, remember that you have the option of at least shipping things that are heavy that you might need when you get to Canada. These things can be done before you leave your country or even after you've left your country, and your family and friends can ship these things over and you receive them, and it will be cheaper to you than possibly flying with some of those things. Now, the next part that I want to look at are some of the things that you can consider leaving behind or even just donating. There are people in need everywhere in this world. Donation is one of the excellent ways to get rid of some of the items that you might not need as you are packing for your trip to Canada. After packing most of these items that you are going to travel along with, the ones that will be left behind that you can't travel with, why not consider the option of donating it to people who are also in need, and they will find more benefit in some of these items or clothes that you will be leaving behind. Remember that you are going to be gone for at least more than a year, and even when you come back to some of these items, you might not be able to fit into them. So why not just consider giving these items out to these people as a way of also enriching their life. And remember that it's possible that by the time you get back, your sense of fashion would have even changed, and some of these items will still not be needed to you. So after packing your 2 bags, my advice is at least look through these items and see the ones that at least you can give out just to bless someone. Donation is becoming very popular with students nowadays, and we are getting to a point where even new students are getting things donated to them when they arrive in Canada. A typical experience that I had was when I landed in Canada, the church that I went to, people were asked to bring things that they don't need that can enrich new students' life. They brought things like winter boots, clothes, plates, food items that these people felt that they don't need. And surprisingly, most of these items were things that most of us students were looking to acquire or buy. just so that we can settle into Canada. And those items saved us at least our own when it comes to money, one way or the other, compared to going to buy new ones. So the same way, before you leave your home country, try to bless somebody with those items that at least you don't need before you fly out. And last but not the least, before I go, I want to leave you with my checklist to help you pack the right way. These are a few questions that you can ask yourself as you are packing. 1, do I know how much luggage allowance my airline allows me when I'm boarding my flight? 2, what are the items that my airline allows for me to carry on in my carry-on luggage? 3, have I researched the weather conditions in the city that I will be arriving in Canada so that I can pack accordingly, or even know which clothes to wear, because you don't want to be surprised to come out of the airport and be met with the cold, chilly Canada weather. 4, have I remembered to pack all the important documents that I will need at the immigration checkpoint? Have I itemized all the items that I have in my checked baggage, just in case something should go wrong and my bag is lost or delayed and I need to make an insurance claim? These are a few questions that I think you can ask yourself whilst you are packing. Like I said, packing is a personal process. And in this video, I just wanted to give you a few tips on how I have done it and also learn from my experience to pack the right way whilst you are trying to get to Canada. If you got value out of this video, kindly hit the like button and remember to subscribe so that you can join me on my journey as a student in Canada. And don't forget to share this video with family and friends who you think will find value in this video, because they might be traveling any moment from now. And don't forget to leave any ideas or questions that you want to be answered in subsequent videos in the comment section. And let me know your experience when you decide to pack to Canada in the comment section. Let's engage there and learn from each other. Thank you, and catch you in the next video.